Matt, Jon Gruden is buying into the New York Jets. This was Jon Gruden on Part of My Take. He's asked a question by Big Cat if there's any hope for the Jets.
Any hope for the Jets?
Yes, there is.
Okay,
Yeah.
give it to us.
The
Positive
hope is,
Jets talk.
all these people that criticize Aaron Glenn, no way. He's doing the same thing out there that Dan Campbell did with the Lions. You got to restore the roar before you can kick the dough down. But they got rid of some players that for whatever reason, high picks too. The defensive end from Florida State's gone. Quentin Williams is gone. He's bringing in his own guys. I know Geno Smith makes people roll their eyes, but 2 years ago, he's in the Pro Bowl. They're going to be competitive. They brought in Demario Davis at linebacker, Minka Fitzpatrick. They brought in some guys now that have that mental toughness thing we're talking about. They got a hell of an offensive line now. If you watch these guys come out of the tunnel, they will kick your ass. They're all first-round draft choices. And Breece Hall will slam it down your face. And now it's just not Garrett Wilson. They got this Sharik the Freak guy from Oregon.
Yeah.
And they got another first-round pick from Indiana, another receiver who I like. And I'm telling you, Frank Reich running the offense, the AFC East, the Patriots went from 4-13 to the Super Bowl. The Bears went from 4-13 to the NFC Championship game.
Or one game before.
Miami's got a whole new team. I just think the Jets, give the guy a chance.
Wow.
Give the guy a chance. Well, he's getting a chance, so we could start with that. He didn't get fired when a lot of people, certainly myself, could make the argument he should have been fired after how poor year one was. But some of the logic there from Gruden, I can't truly buy into, because if you're just going to say, well, he's doing the Dan Campbell thing, do the Jets have Ben Johnson as their offensive coordinator? Do they have a former number one overall pick who had already been to a Super Bowl as their quarterback? I can't just say, well, Glenn was there with Dan Campbell, so that means that he's doing the same thing. That's not good enough for me as a reason to back Aaron Glenn and the Jets. I hope Gruden's right, but let's also remember Aaron Glenn tried to hire Jon Gruden to be his offensive coordinator, so Gruden's going to stick up for the Jets because there's a scenario where maybe he's a candidate to be the head coach a year from now when we get to the offseason. So keep that in mind, too, with any comments you hear from Gruden about the Jets. He has a reason to be positive about them. They could potentially employ him down the line.
Yeah, that's a good call out, too, on the potential hire. I think my takeaway from it is more you look at, or he rattled off all the things that the Jets improved this offseason. And to me, that just kind of takes the excuse out for Aaron Glenn. It's not the same roster that he was dealing with over the last 5 weeks of the year. Brady Cook's not going to be starting games, and, they're not going to have the full tank roster out there. And, I think he's got to drastically improve, and this whole team as a unit has to drastically improve from where they were a year ago. It feels like the roster's in a better place. So, it's his defense now. He's calling the defense. There's really no built-in excuse anymore. His guys are here, and it's time to win some football games.
I mean, the roster is in a spot where no matter how anyone feels about the head coach, he's here, and he has a team that should not be one of the worst in football if he's any good at his job. That's how I look at it. Like, you're not expecting the playoffs, but you are expecting to look like a real team. And if they can't do that, you can't blame the lack of talent for the reason as to why, because they have significantly improved at quarterback. He got to repick his entire coaching staff. Aaron Glenn continues to talk about how his biggest mistake in year one was not calling the defense, which really frustrates me that he keeps going back to that, because think about it. His plan going into the offseason wasn't for him to take over as DC and head coach. It was to hire Wink Martindale, and Woody said no. So I can't buy that. I just got to see it before I'm buying into like, oh, well, Dan Campbell was 3-13-1 in his first year. So here we go. Aaron Glenn is going to do the same thing with the Jets.
Yeah, that's just the fully optimistic look at it. And, maybe it happens. It'd be really nice if they have that second year that Dan Campbell did, where they finished 9-8 in year two and then really hit their stride after that. But, I think you nailed it with they got to earn it and prove it to me. I'm not just going to, sit here and buy in because that's what I want it to happen. We're all Jet fans here. We want them to win every game that they play. But, I think going into this year, it's fair to have concerns about this Jets coaching staff and if they're going to be able to get the most out of this team.
We'll see. Veteran Jet fan brings this up, and I'm curious what the Jets would do. Right. So let's say the Jets are on this lion path. Well, in year two, Dan Campbell started 1-6. Glenn was 0-7 in year one. Do you think Woody Johnson would fire Aaron Glenn if the Jets started 1-6. Not fire him after the year, whatever the final record ended up being, but in the middle of the season, would Woody Johnson fire Aaron Glenn if the Jets did what the Lions did and went 1-6 in the second season with AG?
I don't, because of how much he got some negative press for firing Robert Saleh in season, and that was the only example of him firing a head coach in season. You know, even Adam Gase in that awful year coached the entirety of that 2020 season. So I don't think he does that again. That was kind of a rare set of circumstances where he still believed that this was a team that, you know, had playoff expectations and was trying to spark that. Obviously, it didn't go well as they finished 5-12, but I don't think he would repeat that same strategy. I think he would course correct and go way the opposite way and just let him play out the full season.
Yeah, it's fascinating because we know Woody Johnson has never really fired coaches in season until he did it with Saleh, and he really likes Aaron Glenn, and it was his hire, where Saleh was Joe Douglas and his brother presiding over, and Chris Johnson hired Adam Gase. So this was Woody's first hire since Bowles and McCagnon in 2015. But Woody's also going to be 80 years old. Maybe his patience is a lot less than what it was. I mean, if you're Aaron Glenn, here's some advice. Don't start 1-6. How about win some games early and give us a season that's not over after the first month of the year like last year was?
Yeah, that'd be nice. And you know, you look at how the Jets schedule is laid out, you feel like if you can get to the halfway point and be right around 500, you know, 4-4 through 8 games, I think that's kind of the hope, right? So you're getting, or you know, calendar flipping from October into November, you know, still very much so in the mix. I think we'd sign up for that. But you know, it starts in week one, in a game that I know you've stressed a lot is an important one, and one that they, I think, need to get as well, because it's a tough stretch. I don't think they could afford a 1-6 start to their season.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine 1-6? What's the one win going to be? The Browns in week 5. So they'd already be 0-4 at that point.
Yeah, probably. If they're only 1-6, I don't imagine it coming in the first 4 weeks of the year. The Browns, did they get the Raiders at that point? I in their schedule, I guess I'm pretty sure they do. So one of those teams at home, I guess, is your best shot.
Man, let's hope it doesn't get to that point. Hit the like button if you're joining us. 631 Sports Super Chats us says, Matt, are you excited for Brady Cook? Hashtag Tank Commander.
I am not. I don't know if I will still be in attendance by the time that Brady Cook is out there. We might be on our way making the trek back to Long Island at that point, but no, I can't say that I'm excited to watch Brady Cook.
Let Brady cook.
Well, yeah, I guess we will. We'll see.
We'll see him tonight. I am fascinated just how many snaps Klubnik gets, because really, there's no reason to see Brady Cook at all. I know he will get some reps at the end, but he really shouldn't. Like, these should all go to Klubnik later.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess, like we were saying before, Gino probably gets a series or two.
If they score in their opening series, that's probably it.
Yeah, agree. So let's say halfway through the first quarter, into the third, I guess I would like to see Cade, and then, you know, a couple series from Zappy and a couple series from Brady Cook in mop-up duty probably makes the most sense here.
He's back, baby. Our tank commander, number 4 on the field, number 1 in your hearts, Brady Cook. Jets, Jets. Woo! Love it. Comments, questions, super chats, they cut the line. Larry Romano says, Matt, do you think this team has talent to win 9 games?
I think a lot would have to really break right for that to happen, even with the talent. Like, I'm not just talking about the coaching staff would have to break right, because I think there's still a lot of, you know, young players on this team, and I think they'd have to have that, you know, immediate high-end impact. If they're winning 9 games based on the talent, you know, it's David Bailey being awesome out of the gate. It's Kenyon Sadiq being a real weapon. It's D'Angelo Pons getting back and being healthy and being a really good starter. It's Demario Davis, you know, at 37, 38 years old, still playing at the high level. It's Jamie and Sherwood getting back to, you know, form from 2024. So I think they're close talent wise, maybe to that, but it's kind of the high end of everything hitting and going right. And that's just really hard for me to sit here and project as someone who's watched this team year over year.
The Jake Asman Show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Check out Prize Picks right now. If you're a sports fan, they have something for everyone, especially if you're one of my listeners and you're gearing up for the upcoming Jets season. For player picks on Prize Picks, you just pick a player you like and you go more or less on a few of their stats. Check out some of the numbers they have for some of your favorite Jet players: Geno Smith, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, and many more. Prize Picks should be your go-to. And check out their new offer right now. Play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you need to do is sign up and use that code HMA. That's Prize Picks code HMA. Download the app now or click the link in the description to download the Prize Picks app today.
What up, Jake? How are you?
Whoa, Gary on the road. Where are we?
Alamo City, USA, San Antonio, Texas. How are
Wow.
you?
Hey, remind everyone there who the NBA champions are when you get a second, all right?
I will. So one of my best friends is a trainer, and he's having me work the corner of some of his amateurs tomorrow. That's why I'm here. He is a San Antonio Spurs season ticket holder. I'm gonna let him know. I'm gonna let him know.
Send
'Cause
him my regards.
He was already planning a parade as soon as they beat OKC. Like, they were already planning their championship parade and what they were gonna do. Yeah, and that didn't work out. It's the March for Arts is on. It's official. So we wear the
There it
jerseys.
is.
It's on. It's official. We're marching for Arch. I was listening to this Longhorn podcast yesterday. They said if the Longhorns are to make the playoffs, it means Arch is going to New York, which means he's going to be a Heisman finalist. He's going to have a great season. That's the only way the Longhorns are going to make the playoffs this year. I was going to say the same thing about Geno. If Geno has a 2022 season, then we can end up in the playoffs. I don't really see that happening for the same reason. I look at the Jets safety room, and it's like looking at the Longhorn room. Dane Belton, is that really an option to start an NFL game?
Dude, Dane Belton's had a good training camp, apparently.
He's better than Cisco.
Well, Dane Belton did have more interceptions last year than the entire Jet team. So factor that in. But that's oh God. But that's the competition, Dane Belton and Cisco. That's what we're looking at here. This is the same problem with my Longhorn. Like, this is what we're doing. I'm a guy that thinks like safety is a low-key premium position, even though it's not considered one. Like, the whole game is played over the middle now. Safety is very important. And Dane Belton, that's what we're doing. Okay.
I mean, the alternatives aren't great. What I hope happens
The alternative is Cisco. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe Muji could do what he did last year with the defensive tackle position. He could find a couple guys on other teams that are available for day 3 picks, and they come in and they're productive players.
It's rough to have that glaring of a weakness. Like, I mean, that's not like, okay, we're not great there. Those are two borderline NFL players that are competing for a starting job.
Belton might be better than you're giving him credit for. He was pretty good with the Giants last year as a backup.
Okay. My brother's a Giant fan. You can have him. Like, have fun. All right. Maybe he's better than I thought. Dane Belton and well, who do you think's gonna? I got you guys here. Who's gonna be? Who's starting there?
I think it's gonna end up being Cisco, but I hope it's Belton, and obviously Minka's the other safety.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's going to be Cisco also, which I don't feel great about. But you know, they needed to change or turn over a lot in one offseason. And I still look at linebacker depth. I look at safety depth. There's still 2 issues, but I don't think they could fix everything in just one offseason here.
Granted, it's okay. Yeah, that takes me to my deeper point, right? So is there how many games do you think, if you had to put an over under on it, how many games do you think Cade Klubnik plays this year? Starts. If I said 4.5, would you take the over or the under?
Under.
I was actually going to say 4, so I'd go under on that.
Okay. I'm thinking he starts 4 or 5 games. Is there any, can he play well enough? Let's say he plays 4 to 5 games. Can he play well enough in those games where the Jets don't draft the quarterback?
No. He can play well enough where he can compete with whoever they draft. There's no scenario where the Jets, who basically have planned the last 2 years since the trade deadline last year to get their quarterback in 27, there is no scenario where Klubnik in games at the end of the year could play well enough in a 4-game sample size where they wouldn't take a QB. There's just no way.
What if they're winning games though? Like, what if you like the quarterback on the Saints, whose name I can't say, from Texas Tech, Shuck? If you had, would you draft the quarterback then? I mean, you could load up everything else and still have your quarterback on a rookie deal. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying is hypothetically, could he play well enough where that's an option?
Well, Tyler Shuck won a 2nd-round pick, so they obviously liked him high enough to take him. And I'm pretty sure, didn't he start like how many games did he start last year? He started 10 games. Let's see.
At least half.
I think
the
he started
season.
less than that.
He appeared in 11 games, and he was a starter in 9 of them, and he was 5-4.
All right, so about half the
also,
season.
this wasn't a good quarterback year. So maybe if there was someone they still really liked, maybe they would have drafted someone. I don't know. But they also have an offensive coach who is the play caller there. So you're going to trust his judgment on quarterbacks over like this scenario with Klubnik, and it's like Aaron Glenn and company signing off on it. And if Klubnik has to play that many games, I don't think the Jets are winning enough games to save Glenn's job. So then there's a new coaching staff coming in that has no loyalty to Cade Klubnik. They're going to want their own guy.
That's true. If you're starting Cade, it means you're not winning. If you're not winning, that means Glenn's probably gone, and then the new whoever you bring in is going to want to take a quarterback, unless you find someone who loves Cade, which is unlikely. The other thing I want to talk about was my boy Arian Smith. Matt, back me up here. He's going to have a monster season this year.
Arian Smith?
Come on, give it to me. He's going to have a monster. All right, he's going to have a productive season, and he's going to score a bunch of touchdowns, and we're going to win a game because Arian Smith makes a play. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment?
I think that's an extremely optimistic assessment.
Why is everyone he didn't get to play last year? I don't want to hear he was unproductive last year. He didn't get to play last year. Okay. Why is everyone so down on him after he didn't get to play last year? It's not like he was horrible last year. He barely got on the field. Why is everyone so down?
Because he was a bad college prospect and overdrafted too.
But okay. I disagree. I thought he was really good at Georgia. Like I always reference the Georgia-Bama game. All those pros on the field, he was the most impactful. Like who did you go away looking at that game? It was Smith. He was the best player on the field. That's a hell of a field to be the best player on. So he doesn't suck. And it was the same thing. He's not going to get 80 catches. I understand. But the same way Georgia used him, where it's like, okay, nothing else is working. We can't move the ball. Let's run an end around for Arian Smith. Let's put the ball in Arian Smith's hand. He can make a play. He's the fastest guy on the field.
Yeah, but Isaiah Williams does everything Arian Smith can do better, and he's higher on the depth chart now, I think, for that reason.
Okay, well, all right. I'm not giving up on Arian Smith. I knew the pick was surprising when it wasn't on my, it wasn't on my bingo card, but I don't think it, like, ultimately, I don't think it has to be a bad pick. Could you have got him later in the draft? Probably, but he can still be a valuable player because he's still the fastest guy on the field. And
I don't even know if he's making the team.
That can't be real. It's the second you're going to cut him already.
He couldn't get on the field last year, and they were tanking. They had no receivers, and he couldn't play.
I mean, there had to be a reason why he wasn't getting on the field. I mean, that you're right. That's not a good sign. That he couldn't get on the field last year is not a good sign. I agree. Matt, is there any chance? Give me a percentage chance that he makes the team. I'm going to say it's 99%. Give me a percentage chance that he makes the team. You're going to get cut? He's a 4th-round pick last year. You're going to get cut now?
I think it's more likely than not that he makes the team as like the 5th or 6th receiver, but I'm like maybe like 60% make it. 99 is very, very high.
It's just cutting him out of principle is like acknowledging you suck, unless he's really that bad. Cutting him now, it's like acknowledging you suck at your job. Like no one's going to do that. Like they picked him that high. They overdrafted him because they believe in him. I'm not at practice every day. You guys would know better than me. Is it that bad? Is he unplayable?
I just don't think he's done much. And when they have thrown to him at times, he still had the same drop problem that plagued him in college. We'll see. I mean, if he plays well in the preseason, he'll probably make the team as their 6th receiver.
All right. If he makes the team, I'll get an Arian Smith jersey. I'll put it right next to my Xavier Gibson jersey.
CT Jetfan says, I love O'Leary calmly swatting away each and all of Gary's wild takes.
I'm going to call back in November, December, and we're going to talk about Smith, and I'm going to be right. I said this last year, and I was wrong, but this year I'm going to be right.
I hope he's great.
All right. How's married life treating you, man? I haven't talked to you much. How's married life treating you?
Good, yeah. I mean, we've lived together beforehand, so not really much changed.
Not much has changed, right? Yeah.
That's good.
I hear you.
the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you gotta make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.